You know how everybody says, don't feed the trolls?
Yes.
I feel like they also say something about the bots, like don't pay attention to the bots.
I mean, essentially, they're both like gremlins, and I get that.
What if the bots are in your family?
Oh,
Or even worse, what if they've infiltrated your group chat?
that is even worse. So you can't just be done with them, but
No,
because you can't just let it slide. Whatever's happening, either.
I can't let it slide.
And so today we're going to talk about why conversations across difference, and I think I'd like to name explicitly political difference, feel impossible right now, what the research actually says about why and how people change their minds, and most importantly, how we can still stay connected.
Welcome to another episode of Parents and Professors Podcast.
Yo, parents, yo, parents, yo, parents and professors. Yo, parents, yo, parents, yo, parents and professors.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Parents and Professors Podcast with your favorite triple C's.
Co-parents, colleagues, and collaborators. I am Dr. Michael Stephen Williams.
And I am Dr. Marjorie Williams.
And welcome to the Parents and Professors Podcast, where we explore the intersection of co-parenting education and whatever else we find interesting this week.
So today, Michael and I have both been having conversations about conversations, I think.
Ooh, meta conversation.
A meta-analysis of our existing conversations. But especially when you're engaging with friends or family and something shows up that you might expect to see, somewhere on social media, or people are disagreeing on somebody's Facebook page.
Or on Fox News, or on CNN, or on MSNBC.
I mean, at this point, there is no more CBS News. Shout out to them. Moment of silence. But I think that can definitely be a challenge, right? Like when the manosphere comes home.
Oh, when the manosphere infiltrates the group chat.
So yeah, like what do we do about that? How do we have those conversations? How do we think about what that means maybe for the people we associate with?
Yeah, and I want to press you on it a little bit because I feel like you have some things to say that are going to be interesting.
Okay, so first
a disclaimer.
You know what time it is.
We definitely got to do the disclaimer first.
So everything we discuss on this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The views we share are our own, and our discussions are based on personal experiences, publicly available information, and general industry knowledge. We're not your therapist, your lawyers, or your pediatricians.
Especially that RFK.
We're just two co-parents and professors who are trying to figure things out and want to share.
Would you consider us unicorns?
We have gotten that since the beginning that we have been unicorns. So yes, I'm gonna own that. I am a unicorn. I get along with my co-parent, my ex.
Yeah. Trying to be role models out here.
Yeah, and I would like to. I remember back in the day when I used to comment on things online, and now I think back to like, man, it wasn't even that bad, or it wasn't worth it, but it also wasn't that bad. But I did come to a point where I was like, this is a lot of effort and energy trying to convince people with like evidence and citations of like why their perspective is incorrect. And if they could just see things my way. Do you have something to share with the class, Michael?
I think beyond that being your default approach. So like it's difficult for me because I know you to distinguish between, hey, this is like fact and evidence based, and this is how I really feel. And maybe there's a fact or some evidence I can put behind how I really feel.
Yes, those things are aligned.
Yeah, and so like I don't know that. I feel like you think they're in alignment much more than they actually are. And not in a bad way, because I feel like so I'll say that like part of my attraction to you is your dogged insistence that you're right. Right? I'm definitely a nigga like, yo, I gotta be with a chick like this because who else is gonna tell the waiter that I didn't order mashed potatoes? Right? And so I like the protective aspects of it. I can see the value, but I can also see the frustration if you're convinced of a perspective and you feel like you have the evidence.
Yes.
You very quickly reach a point where evidence to the contrary is not really valuable to you or interesting to you.
To me, but I am somebody who believes in evidence. So I believe that when I am presented with new information or evidence, I am willing to change my perspective.
Give me an example of when you didn't feel like that.
When I did not feel like that?
Yeah. So self-awareness time.
I mean, so the first thing that came to mind was germs. So you know what? That's fine. I recognize there are probably some things that I do that are cultural and may not be grounded in science.
Oh, like washing the chicken?
Yo!
Say more about that. Say a little bit more about your culture and science.
I learned growing up how to cook. And when you are cooking meat, you clean it first. You wash it, you use vinegar, and you use limes and salt, and you clean your meat.
Is that brining or cleaning?
It's a little bit of everything. I have realized this now. So I can recognize that this is probably more related to flavor than But
Did
the
you
bonus
season the chicken?
The bonus is also germs, right? Because all of those things are germ killing agents. And I'm sure if I look to the history of the preparation of foods and the things that go into it, right? We know that salt is a preservative. These are not places that have access to, pristine 5-star kitchens with the latest,
Oh, you know what random old person aside that I have to celebrate?
Yes.
I got new knives. I forgot what it was like to cut something with a knife that's not dull. I almost chopped my damn hand off. It got through this lime like butter. And I was like, these unsharp knives that I've been dealing with.
It's like, it's not supposed to be like that.
It's not supposed to be like that at all.
But if you had cut yourself, at least you would have had lime to clean and disinfect.
I would have immediately disinfected myself under the most painful circumstances.
You would have been good.
There's very few things that feel worse than like cutting yourself and getting citrus in it. So,
but right, I think funny enough, there are so many things that we disagree on. And strongly, right? There was a clear, for those of you at home, I had a physical, visceral reaction to cleaning your chicken. Like you just do it. Mm. And so I can imagine, people are online and the conversation around.
Are you saying this is the unclean chicken of conversation?
It's like, nah, you got to clean chicken. There's no conversation to be had.
Okay.
So all that to say, people online, now you toss in politics and you take out the chicken. Mm. And I think it can very much escalate into, I'm not willing to listen to anything you have to say because I'm already so firmly entrenched in my beliefs, opinions. This is tied into my identity, especially those conversations. And so people are just talking past each other. Mm-hmm. And I don't say this to mean that all conversations and all opinions and all comments are created equal. They are not. But I do think that in the same way people are, we were joking about the manosphere when we opened, but that is like a legitimate like public safety concern. Mm. And so if the conversation is constantly like, well, I don't want to engage with those people, I don't want to talk to those people, how do we ever get to change what's happening, right? Like, how do we get out of these cyclical conversations where I don't agree with you, you don't agree with me, I think you're an idiot, you think I'm an idiot? Like, where does that actually get us? I
think there's a part of trying to intervene before the name calling, and I don't know that I've gotten it right myself.
Say more.
Well, I think that there are insults to your intelligence that are implicit and explicit. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have mastered kind of the indirect and explicit attack on somebody's intelligence that differs from them. Mm-hmm. And it immediately leads to emotional hijacking. And now you're not fighting about what you said or what you wrote. It's just about how you're talking to me. It's like the tone. Yeah, like
tone matters.
Yeah. But I am so frustrated as a straight man throughout my life with the idea of tone when I'm telling the truth, or when like logically there's no other way to arrive given the set of facts available to any perspective but the one that I've shared. But you just don't like the way that I said it.
Okay,
and I'm like, I mean, that's you and every other partner ever, but like,
hold on, just your partners or other people that you know?
Oh, no.
Men and women.
Men and women.
Okay.
And I know that I've worked on tone, but I've also had commentary on tone.
Yes.
But the idea of what counts as a fact when there's any emotion involved feels different. It feels different in relationships, definitely romantic, intimate relationships, but it also feels different in politics. And I think there's some overlap there, maybe that's worth mining, right? Like, if there are some things that if I say it to you, even if it's in the most dulcet tones, you're going to have a problem with it and you're going to push back. But if somebody else said the exact same thing, you'd be like, oh, I didn't even really think of it. Is that really how I'm coming across in this situation? Well, thank you so much for talking to me.
Yeah.
Right?
You be acting like, and this is why tone matters.
But I'd be trying to choose, I know about tone. I'd be trying to choose the best tone possible. But it's just I'm the messenger. Then I'm not listening to it that way.
I do want to say, yes, you have worked on tone. It's appreciated.
Leaps and bounds.
You're a much more mature person than
if cats even understood how many beats I be taking before, like, you dumb mother, right? Like, I be having that thought regularly and I don't even twitch no more.
That's
like, it used
good.
to make me twitch. I'd be like, whew. I have to pretend that there was anything valid about anything you said.
Yep.
And I can't. Oh my God. But now I'm way better. I'm like,
that's good. That's good that you don't let that leak out your face.
Yeah, like, see, I'm not, we have conversations about your face.
Well, I know.
I'm much better at protecting my face than you are.
I'm a work in progress. The Lord's not done with me yet. And
nor should he be. We could all use a little bit of space. You know what? There's no bigger room that I've ever been in than the room for improvement.
Where did you get that from?
I don't even know. I heard that like somewhere dumb. But you take that Snickers, eat that. Don't shoot up the spot.
The room for improvement. Yeah. That feels like peak soccer dad.
Biggest room available.
No, so that is I think that is a really good point, right? That we should not be devolving into, screaming over the internet void at each other.
That's what divorce feels like.
Screaming across the void?
Like, divorce feels like a fight you would have online, but you're having it in real life.
That's so good.
Like, that's...
I mean, not the fighting.
Yeah, but like, I just realized that's...
Yes.
It's like, yo...
It's like, oh, this person is so...
Yeah, there's nothing there's nothing this thing can say that's actually going to change my perspective on this. And so I'm annoyed that I even have to talk to you.
And I just want to show everybody else how right I am and how wrong you are.
Oh, it's why, like, divorce, like, since being divorced, I was like, Hove did that, so you ain't got to go through that. Don't put anything on social media. I was like, I did it so wrong, B.
Oh.
Like, please just learn from me. And can I tell you how nobody listens?
Oh.
Or my favorite move, they didn't listen when I said it to them, but then they went through it, and now they want to counsel other people about it.
So, there is a lot of yelling over the internet right now. It is feeling, I think, to some, increasingly hostile. We've talked on the show before about references to The Handmaid's Tale and Fahrenheit 451 and sort of all of these things where society...
We won the Carabao Cup.
That's good. That's good news.
Great news.
Yay.
I needed a win in life. There's been a lot of kicks in the balls.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's been a season. It's been a season. And thank the Lord that I've made it to spring break.
So how do we get back up? And, maybe we start with the kids, right? Because a lot of these lessons should start at home. So how do we think about engaging with people instead of just yelling at them? Like, I can't believe you think that. Like, why would you think that? I feel like that often...
Well, hold on. Maybe the better starting point for that is, how do you feel and maybe how do you respond when you feel that from the kids?
When they
say
thinking,
something where you're like,
why would you...
Like, are you related to me?
Why would you think that?
Yeah. Right?
Why would you think that?
How would you...
It's funny. I try to remind myself to treat them like people. And I say this with all sincerity. But essentially that they're people. They're going to make mistakes, that I shouldn't hold that against them. And the same way I would want to be patient with, like, somebody at work or maybe a more junior colleague.
Do you want to be patient with people at work?
I do. I strive for patience. The way I'd be like, please check my tone in this email. And sometimes I'm good. And sometimes it's like, or you could say it like this. I'm like, oh.
Aggressive.
It's not direct. I just.
Oh, you were getting defensive already. Oh, oh, tell me more. Dr. Marjorie Wright Dorme Williams? Me?
No. I mean, it's hard when you are right.
When you just live right.
So
you just exist in the world
there's
of
that.
rightness.
But sometimes I too, might be incorrect. And when it comes to the kids, I recognize maybe I don't have the full picture. So I do really, seriously though, I try to take a step back and tell myself to treat them like people, to not just talk at them, which I think also connects to what we were saying before about how people engage, especially online, especially about politics, not to just talk at them, that they are a person. I might not have the whole story or the full picture, and to let them at least explain to me or help me understand how they got to where they got, as opposed to why don't you think like me? Because that's not what we should want for our children.
Well, how much of parenting is teaching your kids maybe not to think like you, but to have part of where I feel like we get caught up right now is the idea of what should be passed down and what should not. Mm-hmm. So I think you and I are good examples from a value standpoint. We both want to interrupt generational trauma.
Yes.
There are things that you hey, this was done to me and it did not work. And I'm seeing the echoes of it in my adult relationships.
I would like
I would like to stop right.
Your life.
This cycle ends with me, which is important.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of shared ideas about the importance of family, about the way you comport yourself, about whether you wash your chicken, that you do want to pass on.
Yes.
And I guess what's the difference between that and where and how are you engaging in the transmission of those messages?
That is a good question. I think it requires internal reflection. So even what you said about, not passing those traumas on, I know I definitely think about, if I were in a similar situation or, when I was that age or when this happened to me, what was I thinking? What was I feeling? How was I processing? And so certainly I think there's a balance in, having an evidence-informed parenting practice, I guess is the best way to refer to.
What evidence do you use in your parenting most frequently?
I feel like we read a lot, or at least I read a lot. Articles, books, best practices.
We as in the children or we as in us?
No, we as in us.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have to read for a living. I don't really...
I mean, yes, but I
just have
there's
to be
a disproportionate
yes,
amount of my reading that has become dedicated to K-12 and young adult development and psychology and educational practices throughout the pipeline, not just higher ed where I want to be. And so that is a direct result of being a parent to two very different kids. And I think wanting to make sure that however we choose to parent them, we're giving them the most supportive environment or the best environment that we can so that they can eventually go on and, decide either, yes, these things that I learned make sense to me and fit my worldview and go, or hey, actually, I've thought about it, and here's where these things don't fit my worldview, and go. But I want them to at least have a foundation that I think sets them up for success in any venue of life, not just academics, not just as be a decent human being.
So is that foundation more about critical thinking? Is it more about the type of person you want to show up as? Is it how would you describe what you're trying to transmit foundationally?
I think that for the kids, it's different. And again, I feel like this is how identity for me can play such a significant role. And part of that is, when I think about Makaria, I think about what her life will look like as a Black woman. As a young woman who is very, #girl boss, and how can I best prepare her to take advantage of her skills in the future.
It's part of that, like, navigating the hate that comes with highly qualified Black women.
Yes. Like, you just... I wish we were in a world where this wasn't the case, but that's not where we are. And also, our kids are pretty decent at intake of, like, news and information. And so they, too, have a general sense of, like, hey, there are things that happen that are not unfair and racist. Like, that just... It's where we are right now. And so I think for her, it's how to navigate this thing that is unfair and shouldn't be, but like it's the system that we have. So how can you be the best version of yourself without having to compromise? I think for the boy...
Some compromise is good, though.
Compromise yourself.
Yeah, okay. I think that there's this idea that people need to be uncompromising that I would push back on.
No, I don't think that's the case because we exist in systems with other people.
And relationships where
they require compromise, yeah.
Yeah, the best for both parties might not mean the absolute best for one party.
Yeah. I think for Maximilian, it's much more about structure. And I think for him, there's such a difference in the types of values, principles, conversations that we have. I think for him, I'm much more like, hey, these, I don't even know how to describe them.
Guidelines. Like in
I was going to say pillars.
Caribbean.
Yeah, I was going to say these pillars. Right.
Like it's not a rule. It's more of a guideline.
Like you're going to need this, right? Like discipline is necessary for any kind of
excellence,
meaningful life. I think not even just excellence. Like you need discipline to hold down a job, even when you don't like that requires discipline.
Discipline to keep a job, even when you don't like.
Yes, some might argue more.
Yeah.
So I feel like, what I prioritize for them looks different, but some of the big picture messages are the same. Don't be a dick. Don't be that person. Be kind. Be inviting. Be like, hey, like don't isolate yourself from other people. Like, hey, this is a way to be thoughtful. And I think that's something that I do with both of them. And I feel like it's because I can see, I don't want you going out into the world and being of another person that contributes to screaming into the void, or screaming at other people instead of talking to them.
Have they ever caught you off guard?
What do you mean?
With like an opinion or attitude or a perspective?
I feel like yes, all the time.
Give me an example that you didn't agree with. Because I know that I'm working on my patience with my face with the kids. Because I'm not as good with the kids as I am with the moms.
I mean, they don't believe in hard work.
Like what the?
That's an easy example.
Oh goodness! Oh wait.
What? Why are you laughing?
Wait, say it again.
They don't believe in hard work.
Please say more.
Again, this is our fault. By us, I mean me and you and our peers, because we love them too much and we want them to have nice things and good lives. And so I just think it, for a lot of kids, young people, it's created an environment where you come to expect the best, more, better, with like very little difficulty or hardship. And so when those things present themselves, they're like, I won't do that.
Work hard.
Like, do you see this satisficing that I'm doing?
That's exactly what it is. Like, I'm doing just enough to get by with available options and no more effort. And
it's funny because I feel like Makaria is good at satisficing and getting A's, and she thinks that she's working hard.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a problem. I feel, unfortunately, she's going to have to figure that out in grad school or terminal degree school. Because the academic challenge just isn't high enough yet. Either that or we're going to have to put her in some kind of nerd camp.
Like, we talked about like other school options, and she was like, essentially, they're all white. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I was
right, like, but that's self-awareness.
So yes, right. There is give and take. But yeah, I mean, I think that they are very different people than me in some ways. I mean, even the way that they joke with me sometimes, I'd be like, who are you talking to?
Oh, I was having multiple experiences of that.
And I get that you think you're joking.
But like, don't joke with me like that.
But yeah, like this is, no. So yeah,
that's one of the places where I worry about like the line between the parent that I want to be and the line between, like, I guess if you see it as a divide and it's the parent that I want to be and the parent that I was raised to be, I feel like that's one of the things that's like right up along the line.
Okay.
Like, the question, who are you talking to, like usually precedes violence when I was growing up. So like if an adult figure said that to me, I was probably about to get hit. But I think it and feel like I should be entitled to respond similarly. But I don't. I know that it's something that I have to stifle. And so even that, like the transmission of respect, like I don't want to be a despot to give people, I don't want to have to use violence to be respected. But
I mean, I think that comes back to sort of the initial point of perspective we were sharing in terms of, like how or why do you think the way that you do? And I think the distinction between the way that we engage with people is going to dictate their willingness to be open and engage versus going on the defensive. And so I think we don't ever want the kids to go on. I don't ever want them to be on the defensive. Because I feel
not
like
with us, because that's dangerous.
Helpful. And so I feel like that's something, it's one of those things that we should really think about applying more broadly, right? Like we...
you know, I'm reading this book right now. It's by, she's from Seattle. She's Mexican. And her parents voted for Trump.
Oh,
and
wait.
She's like mad liberal. She's liberal. Her parents are Trump supporters, even though they're Mexican immigrants.
Okay.
And that's kind of like one of the foundations of the book. But I know that one of the takeaways from it, and the book is,
he wants them deported.
See, you're doing. You're
right. I'm like,
that's not curiosity.
It took a second to sink in, but you're right. Right. Look at me doing the thing.
Yeah. But I think one of the takeaways from her book, and so the book is called "I Never Thought of It That Way" by Monica Guzman. Mm-hmm. It's an M name, so got to represent for the M's. And I came across this book because I've just been in search of more and more frameworks for interpersonal communication as it relates to not only the political divide, but also interpersonal divides, because I think that the political divide is a model for how people engage interpersonally. Mm-hmm. Like whether it's in classes or it's in academic spaces, in workspaces, whether they're corporate or otherwise, people will hear somebody express an opinion or an attitude, especially a political one, and then they write them off immediately. It's like, I'm not going to be able to work with this person. Or like,
I want nothing to do
everything
with this.
else that they say is now invalid because they believe that thing.
Yes.
And so Trump is like one of those dividing lines where people it's almost like a wedge issue. People are like,
almost, it is.
Well, yeah, but it's like you voted for Trump, so like I can't trust.
You're not trustworthy.
Yeah, I can't trust you as a decision maker.
Or you didn't vote for Trump. Like, how un-American and socialist are you?
Exactly. And I think that what Monica Guzman's work is inviting us to do is to like, one, think differently about like how we ask the question. So one of the things that I run into all the time, and one of the things that we were just kind of talking through, is you can ask people about their perspective when it differs from yours in a way that either activates or like triggers defensiveness, or that actually invites them into deeper conversation and gives you a chance to understand the perspectives. And I fail at this. I'm a work in progress myself, but part of it is like just the way that you ask the question.
Yeah.
So if you ask the question like, why do you think that? Whether or not it's the tone, you could be like, why do you think that?
You're totally issue again.
Do it in Mickey Mouse. Like versus how did you like walk me through it? Like how did you arrive at that perspective, or how did you come to that? Like a why question versus a how question is even this like really powerful fundamental difference in the way that you're engaging that invites more interaction, that invites more storytelling, that like will really give you a chance to understand people's perspectives.
So, and this is all in the book.
Yeah, it's all in the book. She has a lot of little frameworks within the book. So there's the SOS framework. There's basically the book title's a framework, like Intuit, like I never thought of it that way.
Oh,
yeah,
I like that.
So like the idea that even when you disagree vehemently, like you should be trying to gather perspectives and stay present in conversation.
Okay. So that feels like a really helpful, practical trick. Like, does she offer, like, and here's how you do that. So when someone is crashing out, and whatever you think crashing out might be, then you should do this. Like, I like the tell me what to do. Does she have any of that in the?
I love the. I think the simplest version of the answer to that question is just she has some default questions that she learned. And another thing that I like is she's a journalism student, which made me think I should be interacting with some of these journalism students a little bit more because they're trained in a way that's different. But for her, one of the main ways is just to have good questions in your pocket. And one of the good questions is, what am I missing? But ask genuinely. So if somebody offers you question somebody's perspective, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's like, interesting. Like, what am I missing?
That's really good.
And that's after an attempt to relate their perspective back to them in terms based on what they offered you. And so that as a little micro strategy. And I think it's difficult for me not to try some of these things out as I learn them.
As you should.
On the kids. Well, I be trying stuff out on people all the time. I'm like constantly socially experimenting.
My kids are a social lab.
Yeah. Like, but the what am I missing question has always been valuable to me in a parenting situation.
Oh.
Yeah. So like,
Were you able to fix your face?
No. I think I did. Well, I'm gonna model the interaction for you.
Okay.
Like, hey Dad, can I go to a play?
Oh yes, you're about to play.
Like,
I'm not even gonna add the context.
Yeah.
Let's just be in the moment.
You know, I giggled mostly internally. I was like, oh, what play? I was like, at the school. I was like, hold on a second. Got a device on which I could display his grades.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, are these the grades of somebody that should be going to a play?
And what did he say?
I guess not.
Okay. So he answered his own question? Is that what we were?
But then I was like, what am I missing?
Okay.
Yeah, like is there something about your academic performance that suggests that you should be engaging in extracurriculars that require effort on my part?
Is that what you said to him?
Yes.
Oh, I like that. And then what was the?
Well, no. All right, so that we have an accord, but I feel like.
Thank you. Did he seem satisfied with the interaction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not like it wasn't sulky pouty. It wasn't. It was like. Oh.
Like that's
I really do feel like it was like, oh, it makes sense.
Okay, that's good.
I worry about that though, because I feel like he does that about a lot of things where I'd be like,
oh, like that was too easy.
Yeah, like is there like any remorse or regret in there?
No, that's a different pod.
We're
focusing on your strategy. That's what we're focusing on. The strategy.
But yeah, I think the what am I missing as an additional question works a lot. And so I think about it like in co-parenting too. You know, there are a lot of times where we might not be using that explicit technique, but we've learned to circle back to each other and ask additional questions.
Yeah.
And sometimes even without the necessity of being prompted by the other parent to circle back and be like, hey, this is how I was feeling at the time of this interaction. And so if it came across, shorter than intended or I sounded nuts, like sincere apologies, but here's the full perspective. And I think that's a version of a what am I missing conversation. Like you have an interaction with somebody that's crazy and you're like, wait a second. Are you like
that didn't
are you okay?
Should we talk?
Yeah. But like being willing to put in that additional effort too. Like to circle back and actually have the conversation or actually check in on the person. I think that's really important.
It makes a big difference. And I'm always excited when I read something or hear something that I don't agree with and still think is good. Like that to me is one, I feel like an increasingly rare feeling in our general forms of communication. So rarely am I ever, on social media and I come across something like that. It's typically if I'm reading an article, a journal article,
What's an example of you book. Feeling like that recently?
Oh, it was one of the, what was it called? It was Brave New World. I think it was Brave New World. But there's I don't know if I'm getting the title right because there's I think an older book that also has a similar title. That's not it. It is not the right book. It's not Brave New World.
I was about to say Aldous Huxley is.
I was like, I knew.
I was like, that actually gets used. One of his other Atlas Shrugged that gets used as propaganda.
Oh.
Yeah.
So now I have to figure out what the book is called. I will check my
But what was the theme?
But essentially, he was talking about how these shifts to more individualistic, sort of self-focused, internalized ways of being in Western society, particularly in the United States, has contributed to some of the degradation we are seeing in what he calls sort of these traditional social communities or pillars of family and church and country. And that this decrease is leading to some of the destabilization and the lack of, unity and some of these other sort of social issues and challenges we're seeing. And he leans really heavily into the it's not quite anti-LGBTQ,
but it's like,
but you could tell he's like,
the devolution of the traditional family has led to
some of this, liberalism over here is a part of the problem. But I liked it because I felt like, I don't quite agree with you, but I understand the argument that you're making, and it's a really well articulated one. And it makes it brings me from A to B, B to C, C to D. I still have critiques and questions, but I can understand how you get to this conclusion. And I thought it was really well done. I will put the book in the show notes because
so it's like a book version of it's like a book version of a how question. Like,
yes, essentially.
He essentially gave you this is how I arrived at this conclusion.
Yeah.
Like, here are all the stops I made along the way.
Yes.
Here's the basic evidence on which I'm standing.
Yeah, I liked it. I felt challenged by it. I was like, yeah, no, because slavery, but see, generally, broadly speaking, you're making the point that you're making. Mm-hmm. So one of my critiques, is it is clearly written from as I read it, I felt like the perspective was focused in such a way to seem neutral. Mm-hmm. But that neutral colorblind approach misses some significant social structural forces that makes this family church country thing much more complicated for some groups than others. And so there's a part in the book where he talks about imagined communities. And so, with technology and the internet and social media, I can be a gay kid in Idaho, and I feel more connected to the gay community in Lower East Side of New York because of all of these, chat rooms or things online. Mm-hmm. And so he would say that, while in some ways that's good, it takes this person away from their the context in which they're actually, where their body is. Yes. And that, what does that mean for these, I think, conflicts of values and culture and norms and expected ways of being. And so he's sort of showing that this is why all of it sort of falls apart if everybody gets to pick and choose and we have nothing to keep us essentially unified.
Do you feel like your training makes it easier or harder for you to stay in conversation with work like that?
I think it makes it easier. Well, I don't know if it's my training or me. Maybe it's probably a combination of both. Mm-hmm. I think it makes it easier for me because I'm somebody who I'm just interested in learning in general. I'm an input person, so I like to have information, new knowledge, new information, more useless facts. Yes, give it to me. Mm-hmm. So that's something that excites and energizes me. I feel activated by that. And so I get excited, whether they're ideas I agree with or not, in just the thinking or getting to think through something. And I think where I feel disappointed or where I struggle is I'm someone who's willing to give your argument a chance, but make it a good one, whatever perspective or side you might be on. Yeah.
So I was linking that. So the Guzman book that I mentioned earlier, one of her other frameworks is the SOS framework, and the first S is sorting. Mm-hmm. And so sorting, the way that she describes it, is how people create these really relational groups based on similarity. Mm-hmm. So if you have similar ideas about something, if you live in a similar area geographically, if you identify similarly socially, if you,
Yes.
even in social media, like you identify similarly, like algorithmically.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
like,
the thing now.
What are the things that you're getting fed? What are the things that you're seeing? Like, how is your world being managed? And so her argument was basically that that's not a bad thing. Like, it's not a bad thing to sort, but
Yes.
there is a point at which sorting can get dangerous, especially like if it prevents you from being able to do social perspective taking. Like, if I'm so wrapped into whatever my group of like-minded individuals is that I can't listen to or even attempt to identify with people that are outside of that group, then like that's when it becomes a problem. And I really like the turn of phrase. She's like, that is the arch villain.
The arch villain.
The arch villain of curiosity. You know. Like,
I like that.
And like this idea that certainty is the arch villain of curiosity and its connection to like social sorting is something I was like, oh, when I read it, it clicked for me. They're like, man, there's nothing more frustrating than being in conversation with somebody who swears that they're right and has like whatever talking points are associated with other people that agree with them. And they're just
and then
gonna
that's
keep,
it.
Yeah, they're just gonna keep repeating it. Like they're just gonna keep banging that same drum. Which is what led to my question about sorting, because I was like, have I been trying to sort myself into only people that can make good arguments? Like, like,
it feels, I mean, all of it feels a little dystopian, but my brain often gives me like books as ways to visualize issues. And so you're talking about sorting made me think about the book series Divergent. Is that the one? Yes, where there are like the 4 or 5 tribes, and you're either an erudite or a dauntless or the little meek and mild people, and that becomes your whole life. Like you're not allowed to act outside of the character of these groups. And
it's
so
like social sorting.
Yes, and so the erudites are all of the, or most of the political leaders, the people who are in charge, the ones who make all the decisions, because it's like, well, those are the thinkers, so we'll just let them do the thinking.
Yeah.
We want people to be thinkers, even if they may not initially feel that way or label themselves that way. Like a functional. Oh, is this true?
I think you're coming to some realizations as you. No, just talk through it.
So I was gonna say, does a functional society that meets the needs of not just a small minority, but the majority of its people, do you need them to be engaged and critical thinkers? I think when we talk about democracy, that's often how it gets framed.
Are you doing like a talented 10th situation right here?
You know, I heard a great story.
Uh-oh.
I was talking to someone and they mentioned, similarly, right? Like they were having a conversation in a group, and the group think was essentially like, well, democracy is obviously the best of the best of the best. And why wouldn't all of the world's in the country? Because democracy is so good and freedom of speech. And there was someone in the group who essentially was like, so everyone doesn't have a democracy, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And this person, I believe they mentioned they were from Vietnam, and they were like, yeah, we have a dictatorship, and life is, minus the freedoms of speech thing, actually pretty good. Like they have brought more people out of poverty, education programs, literacy, like they are meeting the needs of the people. And
would the people be seen as thriving?
Yes. She was like, I think the person shared, like my ability to even be here in the States studying, it's because of that dictatorship. So, it's not all or nothing. And I think I have probably expressed the idea before that, like, if it's a benevolent dictatorship.
Oh, one that you're in charge of. What's the... As long as you're the dictator.
I mean, we did have... So I think I had this conversation with Maximilian where we were talking about leadership and essentially this idea that like, well, yes, there were some things that were bad about the systems that predated what we have now, And things change over time, but that doesn't mean it was all bad all the time, right? They were dynasties and rulers and people who we study to this day because they were great leaders of kingdoms. They were kings and queens and emperors and pharaohs. And, I think that it's just another point, I think, of disagreement, and one where I think it's really important to not foreclose other perspectives, even talking about benevolent dictatorships. Because you never know, right? Like it works for some. But I wonder how many people would be open to hearing that, right?
I don't know that we've ever seen a benevolent dictator. So in the United States, the more you learn about politics and policy, the more disappointed you are in Democrats and Republicans.
It's terrible.
And so you can find countless instances throughout history of Democrats doing the wrong thing and Republicans doing the wrong thing.
If you want to be big depresso, I started reading Dark Money.
Yeah. So, those are the more you know.
Yeah.
Like the little shooting star.
So does it pay to remain ignorant?
I mean, it doesn't pay to remain ignorant, but I think that there's almost I realize that this is what I think, so I'm just going to say it out loud, but there's almost like an earned cynicism. Like if you're going to be a cynic, I want you to earn it because you've put in the time and energy to be like, yo, you can't trust none of these MFs.
Oh, okay.
And here's example, blah, 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 blah. And no, I'm not only looking at wrongdoing over here.
cynic.
I'm not only looking at wrongdoing over here. I'm looking at the full lozenge of wrongdoing. And wowzers.
A lozenge?
Yeah, indeed.
I know where you got
Look
that.
it up.
I remember.
Shout out David Birdsell. That said,
Yes.
there is worse.
Yes, there is worse. We're not at worse yet.
Yeah. And so I want to understand what worse looks like.
Why?
I'm not really 100% sure that what one's person, this is the worst situation, looks like is another person's, this is what the worst situation
Oh, well,
looks
no,
like.
of course not. I mean, that's called being black in America.
Yeah. And so I feel like I don't know that we have enough information as a society that we've developed trust in government enough that we would ever go for a dictatorship in the United States.
Oh, I see
because
what you're
whoever
saying.
would put themselves at the top of that dictatorship would probably be a business or political leader that would just be trying to line their pockets.
Oh.
Which to me is like no different from what we
I was like,
already have.
what is...
Yeah, like
how does that differ than...
it doesn't. That's what I'm
present
saying. And so I'm like,
circumstances?
so if we just give you dictatorial power, what are you going to do? And I feel
Whatever
like
I want.
there's a social experiment going on right now where we basically did that. And now the midterm elections cannot come fast enough.
If we still have them.
I have to believe in democracy that they're going to happen. And that there's so many opt-outs socially that we should be starting to think about organizing if that doesn't happen. So even the idea of paying taxes right now feels anathema to me. Like, why am I paying you to do what I
Don't want you to
do?
Make it make sense.
But participation in a democracy means that's how, especially when it's close on agenda, that like half of the people are basically going to feel that way.
Yeah. I think that I'm glad I've stopped arguing with people in the comments. I still sometimes feel it, but it's not even to argue. Now I want to ask questions, but I'm afraid my questions will be seen as
Attacks.
because it's the internet. Like nobody's taking any of that seriously. But I'd be like, oh, that's such a interesting take that you
People imply sarcasm. Like if you're like,
right,
huh,
and
that's
they'd be like,
actually interesting. Like I don't know
"The
where
fuck
you
did
got
you
that from.
say?"
Yeah, like and like, who are you talking about? You little black beep 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 beep. Right, like yo,
I genuinely just wanted to know.
I was being serious. Like he overreacting. Like
So no, I stay out the comments. I think is probably a good place to start. But
if you do go into the comments, go with how questions.
how questions and take that to your group chat, not just the comments, because that's where we started, right? Like it's I think it is interesting to recognize how our family and friends provide a face to things that can often seem or feel nameless or foreign, or MAGA supporters, or I don't know, Antifa, right? Like those are just labels that have been turned into an image of something. That's not a person. That's not an individual, right? And individuals have thoughts and feelings and ideas. And I think given the opportunity, we should make space to investigate and explore that as opposed to just dismiss it off top.
What if people are trying to disappear into that identity?
That feels like a much more difficult question. So in what way does this manifest? Like they're not willing to have any conversations, or...
Well, so I'll move it a little bit from politics, right? So there's what we academically would call hegemonic masculinity. And it's like a form of the expression of masculinity that really disempowers anybody that's not a man.
Okay.
Like we could see it and understand it. But if somebody aspires to hegemonic masculinity.
Oh, like that's what I want to be.
Yeah, like that's the type of man that I want to be. Like, I want to be a man that doesn't suffer fools. I want to be a man that's never worried about what women think. I want to be, like, some people are actually aspiring to that. And so, to me, that's a piece of how I'm viewing some of the, like, MAGA identification, for example.
That this is what I aspire to.
Or even when people are overdoing it with, like, their lefty liberal stuff. Like, you can't say anything. You're a white man. I was like, all right, well, now you're silenced. You're using my identity to silence me, which is, like, the exact thing that you want me never to do to you. So like, how does that...
Very performative sometimes.
Yeah. And so to me, I do think that there's like a victim blaming trap that you fall into. If you're a person who's interested in understanding other people's perspectives and you actually try to engage with curiosity, there's no guarantee that they're going to do the same for you. Right?
No, but that shouldn't be your deciding factor. I mean, that's not a useful way of engaging. We shouldn't be making decisions solely based on how other people are making decisions or treating us, because then that leads to inconsistency, right? Like inconsistency of character, and we're seeing it. On one hand, I believe in this, and then
as soon as your person does the exact thing you said,
actually, never mind. Okay, this actually, I'm glad this came up because so this story about Cesar Chavez came out. And I have so many thoughts and feelings about what I observed in the matter of hours, days. The story drops. It's like, hey.
Do you want to tell the story?
So essentially, the New York Times did a investigative expose on Cesar Chavez, who is deceased, for those who may not know. And he was a significant figure in unifying communities, working class people, particularly like labor rights and unions, initially starting in California, Southwest America, but those things spread. His ideas and principles and the things that he talked about, moved beyond just that area. So significant cultural, historical figure. And it's alleged that he... and they spoke to two women who were sexually coerced by him, sexually assaulted by him. Some of those situations led to pregnancy. And so literally within hours, people are like, get the name off the building, take down the statues. I think this happened, or the story dropped during some recognition of him, which I think is also
it was timed.
Really interesting timing. I think it's interesting that this is a person who fought for unions and labor unions. And not to say that what happened isn't important and we shouldn't address, redress, discuss. Yes. But now all of a sudden it's like, well, everything he did is now
null and void.
Null and void.
When
we have thousands of pages. Not including the stuff that's been redacted. And radio silence. Nothing from anyone. So I just feel frustrated at what looks like to me blatant hypocrisy.
Not just looks like, it is.
Listen,
It's like selective. It's whataboutism. It's selective outrage, performative outrage.
and it just Inside Higher Ed had a piece about it, like, oh, we gotta take this, and I was like, but we're still dealing with the ones that are alive. What about the ones who are alive?
And stealing in public today.
Alive right now, that we have their names and testimony from many, many people alive right now. So like, I would love to see us be open to new information and willing to adjust and change. I also would like to see us do that consistently. And I would love for people moving forward and like having these conversations to actually take the time and reflect and think about what that means for like your values and your morals and the things that you say you believe in. If you don't believe in any, I mean, that's a different story, but
I think that's a good place to close.
yeah.
Right. Because I think one of the conversations that we're not having, so like if we go back to the Guzman, like, how did you come to think that type question? I think one of the ways that we're not having that question asked enough is like what people think about accountability. Because it seems like a lot of people have a real flimsy relationship with accountability. Like, I want my enemies to be held accountable, but if I identify you as a friend, I don't want you to be held accountable. And like, I would really like to have I would love to be able to engage somebody with an honest how question. Like, how did you come to believe that this person should be held responsible for what they're doing, but that person should not be held responsible for doing the exact same thing?
Yeah.
And I think that's a challenge. Like, that's a takeaway for the listeners. If you have like one implementation intention from this week, it really is pay attention to the type of questions you're asking. Put more time, energy, and effort into those how questions.
For sure.
Yeah. 'Cause even if it is putting more weight on the people who are seeking connection and seeking to learn and seeking to open up, like, somebody got to do it.
Right. Life's not fair.
Yeah, like, life's not fair.
But I like that. I like the homework. And I think that, like you said, it's a good next step in terms of, how do we move these conversations forward? How do we get out of this quagmire that we're in?
Especially if we know the evidence, right? We know that there's no such thing as the right data point. There's no such thing as
and in fact, there's data and research on why people don't believe data and research.
Yes. Getting meta to open and to close. Also, book recommendation, since we talked about it in the episode, you should definitely, if you're interested in learning more about interpersonal communication, especially around the political divide, I would definitely suggest Monica Guzman's I Never Thought of It That Way. It certainly won't fix everything or even necessarily anything. I think one of the things that can feel painful is like, oh man, I read this book and this would be awesome if everybody had read this book. Yes. Then we can apply it. But I do think it kind of fits with our general themes too, like closing up that, like, don't give up. Like,
yes,
you can do this. We believe in you. Remember that the people, even if they disagree with you, they're still people.
Yeah. And if you want a book that might push or challenge you, it's Strange New World, not Brave New World.
Oh, you figured it out.
I figured it out.
What's the author's name?
Carl Truman.
Okay.
Carl Truman.
Yeah. And so, we're not promising that you won't be frustrated. I'm not promising that you won't want to still bang your head against the wall. But the alternative to perseverance around this stuff is living in a world that you're not really interested in living in.
Yeah. We don't want that.
But we appreciate you for rocking with us on another episode of the Parents and Professors podcast. Peace. If this conversation resonated with you, do us a huge, huge, huge favor. Like the episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on all our socials. I actually be going crazy on Instagram, so that's the best one.
And please feel free to drop a comment below. Tell us what you liked, what you hated, where you'd like us to dig deeper, or even if you think we missed something. We're always learning and growing, and we want to make sure that we're creating content that resonates with viewers like you.
And most importantly, and this is a huge one, if you know somebody who could benefit from hearing the conversations that we're having on this episode, please share. Sharing is caring. We're doing this for the love and to build a community because it matters.
And at the end of the day, that's the most important part, creating spaces where we can have real, honest conversations about the things that matter to you: education, parenting, relationships, and everything in between.
So thanks for being part of our community. Go check out the catalog of other episodes if you haven't. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the Parents and Professors podcast.
No cap, teaching our kids, make 'em own.